Live tonight from Space Colony Caledonia, the first ever edition of Good Maruning Saturday Night, on a Thursday, the talk show where Maruda Cinco, Tomboy of Tomorrow, and Hero of Hope interviews talents. The talented people, the fast, the interesting creatives that make up our world, big or small, they all end up in the couch. And so, with our first ever guest, Skylarka, I give you Maru de Cinco! Hello! Oh, wait, I need to unmute myself. Hello and welcome everybody! Welcome to Good Maruning Saturday Night on a Thursday, the first ever edition of my talk show where I interview creatives, big and small. Everybody please welcome Skylarka to the show!
Hello! I'm small! Hello!
You're not small!
No, I'm physically small! I'm small! I'm a small little thing.
Small opossum.
Yes, opossums aren't very large.
That is true.
They're little things.
That is
Small
canonical.
creatures.
That is very canonical. I'm gonna reduce the BGM a bit. Gonna put you up a bit on the mix. Think that should be good. But yes, hello. So yes, everybody please welcome Skylarka. Skylarka is a VTuber musician who has just composed her debut album. It's out now. And I fucked up because I forgot the name of it.
It's called Radish 4 Digital Frontier.
Yes, Radish 4 Digital
Yes.
Frontier. If at any point in this stream you want to know more, you want to see where you can stream it, type Skylarka in chat. Type exclamation mark Skylarka in chat or scan that QR code. I can move you a bit.
Yeah,
so
my head. I'm just blocking it a little bit. I'm trying to dodge it a little.
There you
know.
There you are.
Thank
There
you.
Thank you. But yes, welcome Sky. Welcome. So yes, so this is Good Maruning Saturday Night, the ironically titled show that will never be on a Saturday night unless it is. And tonight is the Thursday edition. It will not be every Thursday. It will not be every week. It will be whenever I feel like it. But yes, I want to interview talents, not just VTubers, but we are starting with a VTuber because this is a very cherished friend of mine. Skylarka and I have known each other for years. And kind of inspired each other in many ways in our creative endeavors, which is fantastic. And now you have your very first debut album as a VTuber, which you composed on stream. How does it feel?
I did. It feels fantastic. I'm very excited that it is released. Yeah, I think you're probably aware, Maru, but I worked on this album. Basically, I started when I started streaming because I started as a VTuber specifically to kind of get myself back in the habit of regularly working on music. And then some of my early streams were the first tracks that I made for the album. And so I've been working on it since, I guess I started in January? I don't even remember. I'm an idol. Spelled different from how Maru spells it. And so it's been a long time coming. And then I got everything done, and then I spent a month or two prepping behind the scenes stuff, doing some back-end promotional things for it. And so it's been ready for a while, and it feels great that it's finally out there. It's so exciting. And that people are listening to it and liking it. That's the thing that's really, I don't know, I don't want to say surprised me, but it's been humbling and filled my heart with joy.
That is so wonderful. That is the thing with a creative project, isn't it? It's a lot of the times you get really engrossed in it, and the process itself is what's worth it. And you're like, it would be nice if people like it. It would be great. But you don't want to expect that. You don't want to trap yourself in expecting that, right? You just want to be satisfied yourself as an artist, right?
Exactly.
So we have a packed interview today. The first part is going to be about about this album. And then the next is gonna be just some more general questions. So I want to to ask you kind of a bit like if you can tell us a bit about your background as a musician.
I can. I'm gonna have to speak a little bit strategically.
Of course.
Because, yes, but I absolutely can. So, I started playing music when I was a wee little thing. I'm small, but I was a wee little tiny thing before I grew into the small thing I am now. And at that time, I always wanted to play music. I loved music. And when I could, I think I was in like it was the 5th grade, I started playing the trumpet in school. And that was my very first instrument. And I actually have 3 trumpets, well, 2 cornets, 1 trumpet, sitting just to my side here on some stands on the shelf. I still have them kicking around. But I fell in love. I played music. I started playing in band. I started playing jazz. I took up multiple instruments. I taught myself a couple. I got lessons in a couple. Long story short, then I started playing in bands. Once I was a tweeno, a teeno, started playing in bands. Did that for a long time. Learned some music production. Nearby horn, please toot. Did the toot come through?
Yes, we heard it. We heard a toot.
That
Fools.
was a toot.
Skylarka toots as she pleases.
Indeed. So yeah, but I played the horn, and then I started playing other instruments. I play the bass guitar, I play the guitar, I play the drums. I can plunk around on a keyboard, which is mostly what I do on stream, because I got them USB gizmos, future technology, and I played in mostly like nothing like the music I make now. I'll say it that way. I have done gigging in jazz groups and in kind of like punk rock type bands. I won't get more specific than that. And I've done some light touring, kind of like regional touring. I've played festivals before, things like that. Nothing huge, always like independent, small-timey, whatever music stuff, but I've done it. I've been around. I've been there. I ran an independent record label for a little while. That was cool. And then now I'm kind of done with all that because of some health stuff, some other personal stuff. And I was like, how can I get back into music? I miss music. I gotta keep doing music. So I was like, I'm gonna VTube, and I'm gonna use it as an excuse to play. To
push you kind of creatively.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. It's like a way to get back into production, because you're a musician. It's like you're an artist. You don't stop doing it. Like you keep maybe doodling. In my case, you keep noodling around on instruments. But like it's a different thing to like noodle than it is to produce work. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And so VTubing, it was like, this will get me in a mode where I can get producing work again, and I'm super excited about it. And I'm absolutely thrilled that with the work that I've put out. Like,
yeah,
I think it sounds fucking awesome, personally. Not to toot my own horn. I just did that, but not to toot it again. I think that the music that I have made that is out is fucking great. I love it. I'm really happy with it.
No, this is an affirmation zone. This is a positive affirmation zone.
Yeah.
Toot your own horn all you want.
That doesn't always happen with art, Like, no. I might make a song and be like, this one's kind of like, bleh. And that happens. I've played in bands where we've had songs where I'm like, this song's, I don't really like this one, but I'll play it. It's one of our catalog,
Yeah.
This album, I think every single track on this record's a fucking banger.
Yeah, they're all extremely good. Hi, Maruning Lamb. Yes, Skylarka is very cool. How is she so cool? I have no idea. If I could replicate the formula in a lab, I would, and I would drink it.
I can tell you how I'm so cool. It's part of my VTuber lore.
Oh, tell me.
It's because I come from another dimension.
Ah, yes.
Where everything is just fucking cool.
Yeah,
It's an
exactly. Everything's
80s
radical.
dimension.
Yeah.
Yeah. The 80s, the 1980s, the coolest stuff from the 1980s just never ended where I come from.
Yeah.
And so it's just everything and everyone is just fucking cool. And it's the 80s forever.
That is fantastic. I relate a lot as someone that has a heavy 80s theme in my background, as you may know. Now, I wanted to ask you, what is different about this album compared to what you've made before? What makes it stand out? There's like a couple of things that you've told me in the past that makes it stand out.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think that compared to like my past musical output, you mean?
That, but also like any specific like way in which you made it as while you made it live.
Yes. Yeah. Okay, so I made the entire album I made live on stream.
Yeah.
First of all, which, like, I've seen people do music production on stream before. I am definitely not an innovator in that, but I've never seen somebody produce a full album back to front live on stream, which I think is pretty cool. Yeah. And then the other thing about it is that, like, well, he has two other things about it. First is I mastered it myself. And that's something, if you're a musician and you record music, and even if you're a self-produced musician, a lot of the time people are like, don't master your own music. Get an outside masterer, because mastering, you want that extra set of ears, you want blah, blah, blah. And I was like, nah, fuck that, I'm going to master it myself. I've mastered plenty of albums. I'm going to master this myself. And I did it. And I think it sounds fucking great.
Yeah.
And, like, part of the reason for that was because I was going for a really specific sound, and with the mastering, I was able to really dial that in. It's a little bit darker, and I think that makes it sound more retro. If you don't know music production terms, you know how like music can be bright, where it's like it feels, when you hear it, it feels really like open and crisp. It's because there's a specific frequency range in the mid-highs that provide that character to sound when you hear music. And so if you bring that character, those frequencies down in the mix a little bit, when you do your mastering and your mixing, you can give what's called a dark character to the music. And it doesn't feel more flat unless you overdo it. Then it makes the mix kind of feel kind of like flat and stagnant. But a lot of like heavier music sounds like that, but also a lot of music produced in the 80s sounds like that because of the analog equipment that it was made on. And so, because the frequency reproduction on old analog equipment isn't always perfect. Nowadays, we can do literally anything with the power of computers in terms of like frequency manipulation. You couldn't do that. I think you kind of could do that back then, but also you kind of couldn't because it was all analog. You couldn't like see the individual frequency bands and manipulate them in the same way. And so a lot of music from that era has a little bit of a darker character to it. And then the same thing with a lot of the, like, if you were listening on vintage audio equipment at home, a lot of the playback devices would have that little bit of a darker character. So I really wanted to imbue that into the mix. And I knew if I had somebody else master it, they were going to go for a modern sounding master. It wasn't going to have that character. And I was like, nope, I'm doing it myself. And it worked out really great. So I'm probably just going to keep doing everything myself because I liked it. And then I think the one other thing that I think is interesting about this project in terms of like how I created it is that I couldn't play these songs for you.
Yeah. Straight up.
Like, you could be like, Sky, play a live show. And I'd be like, how? I don't know how to play these songs. Because when I wrote the songs, contrary to like how I've written a lot of music in the past, and I feel like how many musicians make music, instead of like writing a part and then recording the part, so I know how to play it, I literally just like, if you watch my streams, you know, I sit down and I'm like, okay, I'm gonna record some doots, and I'm like bloop, 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 on a keyboard, and then I'm like, oh, that sounds good, let me quantize it, let me drag and drop some notes, let me program in some arpeggios manually with a mouse. all kinds of crazy stuff happened in the production of this album that like I've never played any of these tracks like front to back. I can't play the keyboard well enough to play this music. I just made it. It's cool. I think it's so cool.
It's really, really cool. It's kind of like you were talking to me about this the other day, and it's kind of like the difference between like, say, somebody that is very good. Like I would to bring it to a field that I know, because obviously I'm a talk show host, which means I am a former failed stand-up comedian, and of course in stand-up comedy, like, improvisation is part of it, but there are people that do more improv, there are people that do more scripted. I would say most stand-up comedians have a level of both. But there is a difference between people that are fully into improv and that are fully into scripting, you know. And then there's that kind of difference. Or like imagine like, you know, imagine that you put a novel writer into a spoken word competition where you have to come up with stuff live. If if there's that kind of spoken word competition, they wouldn't necessarily be able to unless I had that skill. It's a different skill to compose music, to produce music, than to perform it live.
Yeah, and I think that, but I think that's what's so cool about modern music production techniques, right? Is it used to be like, if you were a producer, you would need to work with a musician who could play the music, and you would record and then produce. If you're a musician, you would need to find a producer so you could play the music, and the producer would then make it, right? Or like record it and process it. I'm both a producer and a musician, and I kind of strike this weird middle of the line workflow where I'm playing the parts, but I'm not able to play everything that I want to reflect on the music.
Yeah.
And so I program it, or I like use various production techniques to like layer things or whatever, you know? It's fucking cool. We live in the future and it rules, and making creative works is more accessible than ever, and I love it. It's fucking neat.
No, absolutely. I mean, I used my only experience with music production has been of like of producing something myself. I made a very bad chiptune rendition of Megalovania, like in like a very specific digital audio interface that was very, very beginner friendly. I just did it as an exercise, and it came out okay. But I couldn't play Megalovania in a keyboard. You know, I've tried to learn it. I could maybe learn it one day, but I did Megalovania on that. You know, it's that that kind of thing. But it's really, really cool because it's kind of like more accessible, which is always like a good thing when creative tools are more accessible.
Yes.
As long as they're not AI.
Totally. No, that's not creative tools. That's theft.
Oh, I know. I'm just saying it because this is where certain people.
Yes. Yeah. I'm just being as clear as I possibly can.
Absolutely. But yeah. So I wanted to ask you about making it on stream. Like, was there like any point where you got like feedback from listeners that was like helpful? Like, was there any kind of participatory aspect in any way?
There was, yes, which is entirely new and super helpful for me. But like, I would play something, or I'd have a part going, and I'd be like, I'm not sure about this. I'm gonna keep going with it. And chat would be like, Sky, this is not vibing. Or chat would be like, oh man, this is a bop. This is so good. And it like kind of helped to steer my, like, where I was investing time and energy into the songs. Some of that feedback and like banter with chat, super cool and super helpful, and something I've never experienced before. Like, and I think part of what it did was it really helped me to break down my own internal creative barriers around doing solo work. Because in the past, like I said, I've always played music with other people in groups and bands and things like that. And I might write a song, but then I'd take it to my bandmates, and we would go through it, and maybe the drummer would be like, oh, we should do this kind of thing here, or the singer would be like, let's do this kind of thing here. And like, we'd have that collaborative kind of feedback, almost like a writer workshop, right? But for music. Doing solo work, you don't have that. But having the chat around, it kind of like, it took the pressure away. of that need to like get it right totally on my own, because I could get that kind of feedback from chat, which was incredibly cool. Absolutely incredibly cool.
Yeah, that's like, I don't know, there's something that is very, I think it's very lost when there are conversations about art that don't take in certain perspectives, that like, you know, art can be made by just like an individual alone, but art is never really in isolation, like any kind of art, right? I mean, unless it's like outsider art, that's a separate thing. And like every bit of expression that we do, every bit of like creative work that we do is in conversation with what came before and will come after, right? Like it's an ongoing thing. And so like the idea that that a genius is up in the mountain and composes something on their own and write, Catcher in the Rye, fucking you know what I mean? Like that's not really what most people's experience of creativity is like. And it's really, really good to have that kind of feedback. Like when I was doing stand-up, again, I was doing it on my own. Obviously, when you're a stand-up comedian, the ultimate feedback test is audiences, right? That's the advantage of stand-up. Like when something works, you can tell immediately.
Yeah.
But before you get on stage, you are talking to other comedians. Maybe you're like, you and your friend. I had many sessions where like me and comedian friends would sit down, just like shooting the shit, or we sit down with like a couple of notebooks and go like, hey, I got this, and this. What do you think? Blah, and just like give feedback to each other, and it's kind of really, really cool, because like even when you're a solo creator, you are still working with others. You know what I mean? You're still like having that feedback.
Yeah, and, there's if you all know The Hobbit and The Lion, the Witch, and the Wardrobe, by two legendary early 20th century authors, J.R.R. Tolkien and C.S. Lewis.
Yeah.
They were part of a writing group and they shared their work with one another. It's not like they created it in isolation. It was extremely collaborative. They like had a lot of feedback for each other and whatever.
Like it's we're not gonna get into auteur theory, but it's just I mean, you and I both love Star Wars, right? Like we love Star Wars, and like people who don't know much about Star Wars like attribute it or big fans of Star Wars who don't know much about Star Wars, people attribute a lot to George Lucas, and George Lucas steered the ship, especially like in many ways with the prequels, whatever, but like. And he was really steering the ship with the original film in 1977, but like also, like he was part of a big circle of like all of his film school buddies, Francis Ford Coppola, Steven Spielberg, all these guys. What's his name? I can't remember. But like all of these guys, and they would show each other's like work prints to each other and get feedback. Like George Lucas got a lot of feedback from Star Wars from like from his lifelong friend Steven Spielberg, from all these other people. The film was edited by his wife.
I was about to say Lucas's wife Maria is hugely responsible for Star Wars because she was a very heavy-handed editor. Put it that way. And part of the reason that original movie has the incredible flow that it does and works so well is because of Maria Lucas's extensive work on in the cutting room. Yeah, because
Lucas, for all of his talent at world building and just like fun narratives and fun little characters, like dude's bad at editing himself. Like we know this from when we know this from like when he's just being given free reign. But so just even in that, even something that is so associated with one person, it's collective. I mean, nowadays Star Wars is more collective than ever. I wanted to ask you, like going back to the album, sorry, we digress because we love Star Wars.
All good.
What, like, would you say that there were any like specific musical inspirations for the album? You mentioned the 80s. Like, were there any specific it's Marcia Lucas, apparently, says General Techno. Thank you.
Did I remember her name wrong?
I mean, Marcia's
Maria.
Marcia Lucas, less common name. But I was gonna ask you, like, were there any specific musical inspirations for the album? Any specific like genres that inspired you? Any specific records that inspired you? Would you say?
I mean, it's a synthwave album, I would say. And so I think synthwave just broadly as a genre is something that I've really liked for a long time. I like messing around with it. I like the vibes of it. It's all about the aesthetic, you know, when it comes to that kind of thing. I think my favorite synthwave producers probably are like maybe Kavinsky, especially his like early stuff, which really helped to lay down the groundwork of the genre that would come to be known as synthwave. Didn't really even have a name when he released his first work, you know?
Yeah.
And so Kavinsky's, I think, a big inspiration in terms of the genre for me, of just like, this sound is really cool, and it's something that I want to explore. But there's so many incredible producers making similar kinds of very synth-heavy, synthwave type music. But it's evolved into like a really specific genre, you know? I think with a lot of EDM music, which I would call synthwave a type of EDM, the parameters of what make it a genre are very, very prescribed, you know? Like it's like certain BPM and certain synthesizers are used, and like certain types of chord progressions get used and all of that. And synthwave is like that, but it's also, I think, because it's more about the aesthetic of sounding like 80s synthesizer music, especially from like John Carpenter's movie scores. Big inspiration in synthwave, stuff like the it's a Charlie Sheen movie. What's it called?
Charlie Sheen.
The Wraith, the car movie with Charlie Sheen. The music in that movie.
Is that the one about the possessed car? No.
That's the one that I do you remember The Trial of Captain Hurricane?
Yeah. This is what I'm remembering.
Yep.
Yeah.
It's that one. Yeah. So like the music in that movie also like super important for like the foundations of like what synthwave is drawing on.
Wow.
And I love that stuff. Like John Carpenter is probably my favorite filmmaker. And he's a musician as well. And he does the scores for all of his own movies. And he's got all this weird synthesizer crap that he does, and it's like super cool. And so what I wanted to do, because synthwave it has those kinds of like BPM and song structure type conventions that a lot of EDM does. It is also ultimately about the aesthetic and how the music feels.
Yeah.
And so I really wanted to play with it to just kind of like smoosh around in the genre and do some stuff with synthwave that I hadn't really heard before. Yeah. And I feel like the album does that. Like I've got like a track with, it's not Vocaloid, but it might as well be. It's called Synthesizer V, is on there, which is it's like Vocaloid in that it's a synthesized vocal software. Like, you ever heard Vocaloid synthwave before? Because I ain't heard that.
No, I haven't. Yeah, I was actually going to ask you about that track. That was because the next question that I had was like going through some of the tracks, talking about some aspect of them, and like tell me how that came about, because like I was listening to the album the first time, and I admit I haven't sat through like all of your. I've dipped in and out of your streams. You know how it is. I have ADHD and I live in a space colony, but so like, how did you? Because it's like generally speaking, like. The synthwave that I've listened to tends to be instrumental. Not always, of course. Like there's a lot of sampling involved of voices sometimes. But I've heard a lot of instrumental synthwave, and so it surprised me because like the rest of the album is instrumental. So so you said it's called Synthesizer V.
Synthesizer V, and it's basically an alternative to Vocaloid. I forget who makes it, but since Vocaloid is made by Yamaha, it's stupid expensive.
Ooh.
There's all kinds of weird additional fees you wind up having to pay when you get it, like because it's an instrument. So like once you have it, you can use the voices you have, but the software itself is very expensive, and then each voice for the software is also very expensive.
Oh wow.
And so I've always wanted to mess around with some Vocaloid music because I think Vocaloid's cool, but like I don't know. I since I've never done it, I was like, I don't know if I'm gonna enjoy it. I don't know. I don't write a ton of lyrics, and And so I wanted to spend less money to try to because it was an experiment, right?
Yeah.
To mess around with it. So I picked up Synthesizer V on sale, and it came and like a couple voices for it, and spent a lot less money. And it's very fun to mess with. But the reason that track came about, is I had this software kicking around. It's it's in my DAW. I bought it on sale. It was whatever. I was working on that track, and that one was it's probably the most restrictive in terms of the tracks on the record, in terms of instrumentation, because each song, if you look at the various songs, and you might ask a little bit about this later, we can get into it more then if you do, but each song is named after a specific synthesizer. That's the primary synthesizer I used on that song. And so the song with vocals is called Soviet Piff. And the reason that is the most restrictive instrument on the record, for the most restrictive track on the record, is because the Soviet Piff, it's a synthesizer that was made by a Ukrainian company in the 1980s as a toy in the USSR. It's a toy synthesizer from the USSR. It's called the Piff because it has a little drawing of a comic character that was popular at the time called Piff on it.
Right.
Yeah. And so, being a toy synthesizer, for a toy synthesizer, it has some incredible range, and it sounds absolutely beautiful. But
it looks very small. I'm just looking it up.
synthesizer.
I've looked it up. It's just a small keyboard.
Yeah. It's just like a little teeny keyboard. It only has a couple of knobs. There's not a whole lot of range in terms of the sounds that it can produce. And so it was really challenging to build a whole song out of it. And then what I was struggling with is all the voices sounded so similar that the synth could produce. Because I basically have a digital emulation, like a clone of it that's on the computer.
Yeah.
I don't have the original hardware.
No, of course. Yeah, that's legitimate.
Yeah, but even with that, it was really difficult to get enough differentiation out of the sound to have a good lead sound. And so I was like, well, what if I did vocals on this track instead? Because I had kind of the bones of the song, and it was working, and it was like a vibe, but I couldn't get a melody to sit in it in a way that was working. And part of it was because of how restrictive and like the limited voicing capability of the instrument I was using.
Yeah.
And so I didn't want to use another regular synth because I wanted the track to feature the Piff. And so I was like, maybe we can Vocaloid this. And so I made a Vocaloid line. Yeah. I think I don't remember. I think I wrote the lyrics off stream. Like in between streams, like I decided to do the Vocaloid. And then I came back to the song the following week with lyrics I had written and plugged them in and wrote the melody. And it worked great. I think it sounds fucking awesome. Also, that song's about JoJo's Bizarre Adventure. If you know about songwriting, like lyrics, it's primarily the lyrics are it's a couplet structure. So everything's couplets, and every couplet is a reference to JoJo's Bizarre Adventure in some way, shape, or form.
Oh my god. Incredible.
Every single
one. Incredible. Do you have the lyrics on any of the versions? What is this, a crossover episode? It is. Sorry.
It is a crossover episode. Hello. The lyrics should be available on Bandcamp and even on like Spotify and stuff. Yeah.
Give me a moment. I just realized I haven't given you a shout out.
How dare you?
I know. I also didn't write an ad on the, because that's a fairly new feature. So I didn't write an ad on the title. Should be fixed now. Sorry about that. Folks, please post Skylarka.
Oh, it just turned pink.
Oh yes, absolutely. Yeah, it's I was checking the I'm checking the Bandcamp real quick. Where is it? Soviet Piff lyrics. Right. November Rain. Okay, already. We're already there. We're already there, my friends. So I'm gonna have to read these off stream. But ripples, yeah, I see ripples. Spinning stones, the spin from part 7.
Yep.
Yeah.
Mechanisms is from part 9. The literally the first couplet there. The mechanism.
Wow.
Yep.
That's fantastic. So are each of the stanzas about a different part?
No, it's just all kind of a hodgepodge.
Right.
Of cause like, JoJo's is all about. Not to tangent too much about JoJo's. I know we are both heavily JoJo pilled, and
I am JoJo. You JoJo pilled me. You're the one that turned me into this.
I know. I'm so proud of myself.
You're extremely proud. I can tell.
But the whole thing with JoJo is Hirohiko Araki has talked about how JoJo's is a celebration of humanity and what makes us human. And every part explores that in different ways. The whole first saga of 1 through 6 explores that in specific, unique ways when it's all put together. The whole new trilogy is doing that. Like, super cool. And so I tried to kind of do that with this song.
Yeah.
So it's like full of all of these references to JoJo's throughout, but also if you just read the lyrics through on their own, it's not like, oh, this is a song that's explicitly like just talking about JoJo's. It's every single little couplet references JoJo's, but the song itself is kind of about finding yourself and blazing your own way as a person in a tough world and how beautiful that can be.
Yeah, like would you be cool with, like, we could listen to like a minute of it now? Just to give people a taste. What I'm gonna do is I'm gonna share it with you on Discord. Share your own album with you,
okay.
Just so you hear it at the same time as I do, and stream does, well, roughly. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna stop our BGM right here for a second. Get that working now, and yeah. So Chad, this is Soviet Piff from Skylarka's debut album Radish 4 Digital Frontiers. Oh shoot, sorry.
Oh.
Is that playing now for you?
No.
Wait, it's not? Hang on a second, because it was for chat.
No.
It wasn't. Yeah, if you're having some trouble with YouTube, I gotta say. No, you guys could hear it. I know that you could. It's just Sky's not hearing it through the.
I mean, I've heard it so many times. If you start at the beginning, I can kind of hear it in my head.
Okay, no worries.
Yeah.
I'm gonna start now. Yeah.
All right.
Balance, right? The isolation, life itself is destination. Please
lower it down now. It's still playing. But yeah, that is so good. I tell you, what threw me when the first time I heard it is that the first that first stanza, the melody it uses for sorry, Sky, you there?
Yeah.
Okay, yeah.
Yeah,
no, I was saying
I should be.
Oh yeah, no, cool. No, I was saying that what took me by surprise when I first heard the song was that first stanza with the Vocaloid was like the specific melody that you picked made it like it didn't actually sound like a Vocaloid until like later stanzas. Like I couldn't really tell that it was like a synthesized voice at the beginning, which was really cool.
I've had a whole bunch of people who I know who have listened to the album be like, Sky, did you sing this song? And I'm not that kind of idol. I can't sing good.
I knew it wasn't you just because I know what your voice sounds like, and I also know that you don't necessarily enjoy singing. So
yes,
like
it's the voice that I used is it's Eleanor Forte. From Synthesizer V. It's the Eleanor Forte English voice pack.
Yeah. No, it's really fantastic. But yes, we're listening to Skylarka's first album, Radish 4 Digital Frontier, track 8, Soviet Piff. We're gonna listen to it until the end, and then we're gonna go back to our BGM. But yeah, it is such a bop, and it's really like the sound of that Soviet Piff. It's so interesting. It's like a little,
I know, right?
It's like so kind of, it's like tinny, but it also sounds real strong for a toy. It sounds really like,
yes, it
has like a lot of depth as a, because like, you know, as the daughter of a musician, I have played around with my share of toy instruments. Let's bring back our BGM. That was Soviet Piff. And I played around with my fair share of electronic instruments. Also my dad, I mean, it's not a toy. My dad had an electric organ. That was like from the 70s, and kind of like, you know, wooden finish, metal, like wooden and metal. I'm sure if I ask him, he can tell me what model it was. I mean, he probably has that archive somewhere. He doesn't own it anymore, but you know, this has such a vibe to it. This sounds like this, I don't know, it just sounds so deep, so like
it
rich.
does. It has an incredibly like rich, luscious almost, but also kind of spooky sound to it. It's really incredible. And
like
actually,
the range is limited, but sorry.
Yeah. If anybody is a musician and wants that, it's free. It's for the Decent Sampler, which is also free. And it was made by this guy who he makes the Decent Sampler, which is basically it's a sampler software that lets you create like instruments that run inside of the sampler, right? So it's kind of like if you know what Contact is, if you're a musician that works in digital music. Contact is expensive, and then it's software, and then you can buy Contact instruments that are anywhere from free to like $100 that run inside Contact. It's like the Decent Sampler is similar in a way to Contact in that it's like the VST that you run. And then you can get additional instruments for Decent Sampler. So Decent Sampler itself is free. There's a whole bunch of free instruments for it. There's some instruments you gotta buy. They're usually like $10 or $20 though, pretty cheap. But the Piff is free. So if you like the sound of the synths in Soviet Piff and you want to mess around with them, pick up Decent Sampler and get the Soviet Piff. If you just Google it, it'll pop right up. And they're both free.
Oh, yeah. I forgot. I also have like the old Yamaha Scholke. That was my other point of comparison. I gotta tell you, this sounds better than the Scholke. And the Scholke is pretty decent.
Yeah.
The Scholke is pretty decent.
Yeah, it is.
But this is much nicer. Although it's probably got, obviously the Scholke has like a lot more options, but this sounds just like gorgeous.
Yeah, there's a whole video of the guy that made it I don't have a link for it right now, but there's a whole video on YouTube out there. The guy that makes Decent Sampler, who made this digital instrument out of it, he found this synth. The instrument, this digital instrument that I used exists because this dude, he's got like a hobby collecting and digitizing old synths. He found this on eBay and was like, that looks cool. I have no idea what it is. And he bought it. And he started messing around with it and got it working. And he was like, this sounds fucking incredible. And so he made it into an instrument. And he's the guy that did all of this research to figure out, like, he found what factory these things were made in and like when they were made in the USSR. It's crazy.
Wow. That is insane. That is wild. I love that kind. I love those kinds of stories because I feel like people. I feel like sometimes in our information superhighway age, we think that all this information is always like online or that everything has been discovered, and there's just so much out there that never will be or that just gets uncovered like this, like
his name is David Hilowitz or Hilowitz. I'm not sure how to say his name. Yeah. I did find the video. I'm gonna I probably can't post links.
Send it to me.
Chat,
send it to me. I'll post it in chat.
Yeah. So this is the video all about the Soviet PIF synthesizer, which is just so cool. Like when I saw this video, I don't even remember how I found this video. I think somebody sent it to me and was like, Sky, you think this is the coolest thing ever? And I did think it was the coolest thing ever. And so I wanted to use it for a song. But you'll notice there's like, if you click through, you can see the synth, the original analog synth. There's like a couple buttons and like 2 knobs. Yeah, it's like volume and tone and then like just like a couple little buttons. It is limited in terms of like what it does, but it's so cool. It's so cool. And that video is worth a watch. Yeah.
I will definitely be watching this. I love stuff like this. Because like it's only 2 octaves, and I mean I couldn't begin to guess what the buttons do, but it's like but basically like when you're looking at something like this, it is like that's the thing that's fascinating to me, that it's so limited. And it has such rich sound. It's like those things don't usually go together. Like I mean, especially on something that is not a professional hardware. Like this is like literally a toy for children with a adorable Soviet dog playing the piano. You guys need to watch this. Click on that video, please, chat, because like it's just I'm fascinated by stuff like this. It's just this is like the me of a different part of the timeline. When I was real into weird instruments and real into music, I used to be a music scene kind of person. Not a musician, just an appreciator.
A scenester,
Yes, I didn't want to say that or hipster, but yes, I was a hipster. I will admit to my past. And I was real into stuff like this.
I said scenester, not hipster, to be fair.
Where I was, it was kind of
those words.
Where I was, it was kind of the same thing. Where I lived, it was kind of the same thing. There wasn't really a distinction. You were a music scene person, you were a scenester or a hipster. Although people just called them like music scene people where I lived, maybe hipsters. Right. So I want to kind of move kind of to the last little stretch of the interview. I wanted to ask you just like some stuff that is kind of like beyond the album. Like one of the questions you already answered when you started playing music, you started playing when you were little. And like, what other instruments did you play? You played the trumpet. Like when you were playing live instruments, like what kind of instruments did you play? Did you enjoy?
So I love playing the bass guitar. Bass guitar is like probably my favorite. And the instrument that I have the most experience like playing in bands with is the bass guitar. But like I can play the guitar. I've done the guitar, both electric, and I've done a little bit of acoustic guitar performance, but like not really my jam. I haven't done that for a very long time. But I've messed with it. And then I used to play the drums. I say used to play the drums because drum kits are big and unwieldy and have many parts, and they are very loud, and you
Yeah.
can't make them quiet. And
You can't.
so I have not played the drums in a very long time because it's so impractical for me in my living situation to keep a drum kit around and be able to actually access it and play it. I could probably like pick them back up again, but yeah, I would say my primary instrument probably is the bass guitar. Played that. I played the trumpet longer, but I probably played the bass guitar the most.
No, that's cool. No, that's really cool. And yeah, drum kits, you just cannot. There's just no way. There's no way. Like where I live, like I would absolutely like already my singing. I am worried that my neighbors are gonna complain, but like yeah, a drum kit, forget about it. If anybody in the flats above me or below me had a drum kit, I would hear it. Not the one next to me, but the ones above and below, I would definitely hear it.
Oh, if it was next to you, you'd hear it too. I have a neighbor. I don't know where they live. They're not in my building. Someplace on my block, there is a drummer. And I know this because when that person is practicing drums, I can hear their drilling. So I can hear them like running double kick drills, like and like doing like various like running through various types of beats. Like they'll run like a blast beat and then they'll run a jazz beat, and you can hear it. I can hear it in my apartment, and I don't know where they live. It's definitely not my building though, but it's somewhere on the block. Drums are fucking loud, man.
somewhere on my block, there is a drummer.
Yeah. Yeah.
I love that. But yeah, I wanted to ask you, like, who would you say are your favorite artists? Your favorite music artists? Like, name as few or as many as you want. If you want to just name one or two or three or whatever.
That's a real tough question because it's always in flux for me. It's always in flux. I think I don't have like a favorite artist the way a lot of people do, you know, where they're just like, this person's music is my favorite music and I listen to it all the time and it's blah blah blah, you know, like, and I feel like nothing against that, you know, like that's fucking awesome. I love that you connect with somebody's music that way, but for me, it's always in flux what I'm listening to. I would say right now, listening to a lot of Wednesday Campanella. And I think the closest that I could get to like a single musician who is like my favorite is probably Dizzy Gillespie.
No, that's cool. I am afraid I don't know either of them, but I'm terrible.
So Dizzy Gillespie is a jazz trumpeter.
Okay.
And the reason I started playing the trumpet when I was a wee little thing is because I heard Dizzy Gillespie music as a child. I think it was because my parents had a Dizzy Gillespie album that they put on once in a while, and I fucking loved it. I thought that it was the coolest thing, hearing somebody play a trumpet in ways that nobody has before or since, you know? Nobody plays like Dizzy. And so like hearing that as a kid, I was like, I need to play that instrument, and I became fucking obsessed with the trumpet. And so like Dizzy Gillespie is, I think, probably the reason I became a musician, because his music made me want to play trumpet, and then playing trumpet is what prompted me to fall in love with musicianship and learn all these other instruments and learn music production and all that stuff. So super, super awesome. Definitely check out Dizzy Gillespie.
Dizzy Gillespie, yeah.
Yep, Dizzy Gillespie. Yeah, Dizzy. And then Wednesday Campanella is like just a super fucking cool like electronic music. There's like a DJ and a lady, and she sings, and he's the producer, and it's like really cool, like Japanese. I don't even know how to describe it. It's super unique, like kind of like dance pop, but it's not dance pop. It's very not dance pop, but that's the closest thing I can think of to describe it.
Yeah. No, that's pretty cool. Yeah, I just looked them up. Like I'm gonna be checking these both. We got Reku Rep and Dizzy Gillespie in chat. Hell yeah.
Yeah, Dizzy, the Diz.
No, we love it. No, yeah, I was just asking because like I like what I listen to is kind of in flux, but I also have like I personally like I have like there's like 20 artists or so that I would say are my favorites. I wouldn't really rank them because there's no point in comparing, like, you know, comparing the Mountain Goats with Astor Piazzolla is a mug's game. It's completely different genres.
You can't compare that stuff.
No, you can't. I can't compare though. Like I can barely compare Astor Piazzolla to Tanghetto, who are tango as well, but they're a different kind. But yeah, so that's that's me though. But like I just have like all of these kind of favorites. Like I guess like my next obvious question is like, do you have a favorite album? Or is it kind of similar where you would say it's kind of in flux?
Well, I think with a favorite album, I think that it's in flux, but I could name a couple of my favorite albums.
Go for it.
Just like a few that are pretty consistently on that list of things that I think are like some of the best whole albums ever produced to listen to front to back.
Right.
So
yeah.
I'm gonna say Rumors by Fleetwood Mac. Fucking
Fleetwood
incredible
Mac,
album.
yes. Yeah.
Fucking incredible. That
fantastic.
album is one of the best albums ever created.
Which was it? Did you say?
I would.
Which Fleetwood Mac?
Rumors.
Rumors.
Yeah. Rumors by Fleetwood Mac. Another one, probably the Rise and Fall of Ziggy Stardust.
Oh
by
yeah,
David Bowie.
Absolutely. That one is a banger. Let me interrupt you for just 1 second. Thank you so much. I'm excited for the raid. We are here interviewing.
Welcome in, Raiders. Hello.
Welcome in, Raiders. I'm here on Good Maruning Saturday Night. It's my talk show where I interview creatives, and I'm interviewing VTuber musician Skylarka, who's just released her new album, Digital Frontier. I forget the Radish 4, Digital Frontier.
Yeah. Radish 4, Digital Frontier.
Yes, and exclamation mark Skylarka, and you can get all of the links to check the album out. It's fantastic. You can listen to it for free on YouTube. Thank you for the follow, Puchiko. As you guys might be able to tell, the alerts are turned off so that we don't interrupt the interview. The alert sounds, I mean. But yes, sorry. We said Fleetwood Mac Rumors. We said Ziggy Stardust by David Bowie. Absolute classic. So yeah, that's a great one.
There's a siren. I hope you couldn't hear that.
No, I couldn't. No, I mean, yeah, we're here in Caledonia Space Colony. We're like high in a skyscraper. You know, like your son is gonna hear a siren or two. You know, a pigmobile squealing downstairs. You know, it's gonna happen.
Yep, it happens. I would say, additionally, other albums, Bird and Diz. Bird and Diz, which is it's a collaboration album between Charlie Parker, who is known as the Bird, and Dizzy Gillespie.
All right.
Fucking slaps. If you want one of the most important and best albums in jazz history ever, and you want to try out bebop music, listen to Bird and Diz front to back.
Oh, this sounds fantastic. The cover has already sold me. The cover is gorgeous. Looking at the cover ad on Wikipedia, looks fantastic. But yeah, no, I'm already like I'm also asking like specifically because I'm noting all of these down because I'm always trying to like check out new stuff. I'm not very good at like I do that neurodivergent thing where like I have like a playlist that I play every day. That is, I have like two big playlists. One is all my favorite songs. Another one is like has a lot of my favorite songs, but also just songs that kind of get me going. And they're not necessarily my favorites, but they are like songs that kind of get me going. Amuzan is saying that they just finished building model kit building stream. Want to say hi? Yeah, no worries. Thank you so much for rating and for bringing your community over.
Yeah, thank you for coming in. Thank you.
Yes, thank you. I hope your model kit building stream went well.
Indeed.
But yeah, no, that's really
cool.
And
then one more album.
Go for it.
One more album I want to throw out there. One more is just in a similar genre vein to what I've just put out. Is and I already mentioned him, is Kavinsky. His album, I believe it's called Night Call.
Night Call.
Yeah.
Kavinsky. Yeah, I found it. Yeah. Oh, hang on. It's
There's a song called Night Call.
Oh yeah.
But it's that.
The album's called Outrun.
The album's called Outrun. Okay. Yeah. So that's that album.
Oh, thank you for the gifts of Pack 1989, and welcome to the Heroes of Hope, Amazani.
Yeah, that one. That's the cover art. Yep.
Yeah.
So Outrun by Kavinsky. Yeah. That would be it. That I think is probably remains my favorite synthwave album, and is the reason why synthwave music started out as being called Outrun music, is because he named that album Outrun. It has a theme. There's like a like the concept, the conceit of the album. All the songs are about this guy who drives a Ferrari Testarossa, and becomes a ghost, kind of like Wraith. And you drive a Ferrari Testarossa in the video game Outrun, and you crash horribly and explode often in that game. And so he named the album after the video game Outrun. And that album, if you've ever heard anybody talk about Outrun music, it's not so much because they're making it sound like the music from that video game, it's because they're making it sound like the music that Kavinsky named after the video game that evolved into what we call primarily synthwave these days. Yeah, so super important, cool. But also like, mwah, amazing record.
Oh, that's fantastic. No, I'm definitely going to check that one out. That's Outrun by Kavinsky. Love the vibes of the singles and cover art I'm already seeing. It's quite fantastic. Yeah, let me just check. Do I have anything else? Yeah, I guess like the last question that I have for you, and then like, you know, we can throw it for a few minutes to chat if they have anything they want to ask you, is where next? What what are you like? Do you have any plans for where you're going to go next? Have you started work on the next? Oh, I think you have.
I'm so glad you're asking this.
Let's fucking go.
I'm so glad you're asking this. So if you have watched my streams, you know I usually do music streams on Saturdays. Basically, the whole album, all the tracks were made on like Saturdays, music streams, regular time, whatever. I have not done music streams the last couple of Saturdays. I've done games because the album release has been ramping up. So I've been thinking and stewing, and I haven't started on anything, but I've been listening to a whole lot of city pop.
Oh.
And I have an idea. I'm not gonna make a straight city pop album.
Yeah.
Or even a straight city pop song. But what I want to try to do is I want to take city pop and the vibes of city pop and like the beats of city pop and the aesthetics of the synthwave, and see if I can smoosh them together and invent my own genre that I will call city wave.
Oh, that'll be
That's the plan.
I think
so. We're starting on Saturday. I'm going to start with the first song.
That is so cool. I will tell you, I have seen stuff called city wave on YouTube. Not sure if it's exactly what you mean, but because when I was working on my master's thesis, I was actually listening to like a lot of like background music, and there was a lot of like kind of like lo-fi city pop kind of styles. It might not be exactly what you mean. Like you might be going in a totally different direction, which is totally awesome. But
yeah, like, I'm not going lo-fi at all.
No, yeah. So some of these were lo-fi, but like there is definitely some stuff that is like trying to meld those two. I think I'm
sure.
no musician,
I mean, I can't really be the first person to ever have this idea, but I still want to mess with it. I've
would
heard it, you know.
Like I don't care if you're the first or not. I want to hear what you make in that space or in any space, honestly.
Yeah. I want to mess around in that space. That's where I'm going. That's where I'm headed. I'm trekking. Let's mosey.
You're baking. Let's mosey as well.
Yeah.
Let's mosey. I'm sorry. I'm so screwed in the head, man. All them lovers are just leaving. Yeah. It's but no, that's really, really cool. That's like a really cool direction. Like city pop. I feel like city pop has had like a resurgence in the English-speaking world just because it's much more available now, right? Because like it didn't used to be.
I think so, yeah.
Like
Yeah, because I've listened to City Pop for a really long time, and I think it's great how available it is, because it's now like instead of like having to dig up some like YouTube upload or like find an album from a Japanese blog or whatever, like to get it online, like I feel like the Japanese record labels have finally embraced streaming services, and so like City Pop's just on Spotify and on iTunes, and it didn't used to be.
Yeah,
and
absolutely.
It fucking rules. Like, it's so good, and I love that it's seeing this resurgence. I love it.
No, it's wonderful. It's like there's. I mean, obviously, it's not everything. Obviously, there's more in Japan, but there's like so much. Like I've hit that City Pop, like Spotify created playlist a bunch. There's just so much stuff in there. There's just like so. They got some like we got like okay. The other day, like, I'll tell you the story. So the other day, a friend of mine was asked what would be on Kamen Rider Hibiki's like driving playlist, right? Kamen Rider Hibiki is, well, he doesn't drive per se, but he's driven around a lot because he goes, him and his different assistants, they go to the countryside to camp and hunt monsters, right? So they're always like in a minivan traveling to the middle of the countryside. And my friend was asking me, well, as the Hibiki expert, as the foremost Hibiki historian, what would Hibiki, Hitoshi Hidake, Kamen Rider Hibiki himself, what would he put in a in what would be his driving playlist? And I was like, okay.
Yeah.
I immediately knew this information because I know the character so well. I immediately knew the information. Even though he never talks about, I'm pretty sure he never talks about music. But Hibiki is a guy who, despite being about 30, he's quite old school, and he's also, in some ways, he likes a lot of like traditional Japanese things. So he would, but he's also a child of the 80s. So he would listen to two genres mainly: enka and the cheesiest, most mainstream city pop.
Incredible.
And I just went to Spotify, and I just found some like popular enka songs. And I looked for some specific artists, well-known city pop artists, and just like made a playlist. Also, the playlist, I'm pretty sure it's a playlist that you could fit on a CD. And since the game came out in 2005, the show came out in 2005, he could definitely put that in a burn CD kind of thing. So
totally.
So yeah. So like it's just like I just like I feel like now it's like so much easier. Like my other example is that like I'll still say the soundtrack for seminal mid-90s J-drama Long Vacation is not on Spotify outside of Japan. But I will say, the first bit of city pop I ever heard was a couple of songs by Hideaki Matsuoka, who did ending themes for the Tokyo Babylon OAVs. That were they were not super city poppy, but they were kind of matching that age. And then of course later I learned Hideaki Matsuoka did a whole bunch of kind of like new wavy kind of city pop. And his greatest hits is on Spotify now. And for years I just had to like dig up like files in obscure blog spots and stuff, Oh my god, we're getting raided by Pixie. Oh my word. It's the Ultrusy raid. It's the Ultrusy raid. I can like I'm a professional talk show host. I cannot begin to address what the Ultrusy is referencing. But thank you so much, Pixie, for the raid. You were playing Elder Scrolls V Skyrim Special Edition. How were your travels in that land?
Amazing.
Hope you had a good time. I'm here with Skylarka, VTuber musician par excellence, who just has her new album out, Radish 4 Digital Frontier. So make sure to mark Skylarka on chat to get all the links, or scan the QR code right above, hovering dangerously above Skylarka's head. Spawn thousands of potatoes and broke the game. That sounds like you. That sounds like you. But it's welcome, everybody. Thank you for bringing your folks over. I am Maruning, Tomb of Tomorrow, Hero of Hope. And this show...
I'm Skylarka. I'm a goofy little opossum. Hello.
Yes. Sorry. I need to let you introduce yourself. You're the guest. But yeah, this is the show Good Maruning Saturday night on a Thursday. I love that stupid name so much. I love saying it. I will not drop the
love it
guest in
too.
the hole. I will not drop the guest in the hole. There is no hole for the
That
guest to
could
drop.
be. That could be a fun content ad though.
That could be
in your game show. You could
Yeah.
make your guests do something. I don't know what. I don't know what I'm going to inflict on future guests. Maybe like an obstacle course or something. And if they fail, then they go
Yeah.
down the hole.
I think, yeah, I mean, there's definitely something, because I want this to eventually be like a nice variety show, like maybe like a little interview, like I wanted to interview you in depth because you're a good friend and an artist that I know very well, and you have this big release. But in the future, my interviews will probably give you like just 20 minutes of the show, half an hour of the show, and then just like the rest will be like variety stuff. And so that's a good thinking. That's some good thinking. But I will not drop Skylarka in the hole today. Today you're being spared.
Goodness.
Yes. Oh
Thank
yeah.
goodness. Note to self: never come on Good Maruning Saturday night again.
Ever again.
You can
avoid the hole. You will avoid it. I mean, I don't know. Will there be a hole? Will there be an anvil? Who is to say?
An anvil. That's a good one.
Yeah, an anvil will be good. Dunk. Yeah, I was gonna say, chat. Does chat have any questions for Skylarka that we haven't covered? Anything that you're interested in knowing? Anything at all? And please remember to just go to Bandcamp. You can stream the album for free, and you can stream it for free on Spotify and YouTube. But I will personally also tell you, give this woman your money. Give this possum your money. Just do it. Just throw, if you can. Otherwise, you can just stream it on Spotify and YouTube, and it's so wonderful. I was playing it on loop. I was doing some copyright infringement the other day. I was playing it on loop during my gameplay stream, and it was just such a vibe. It was just such an absolute vibe.
So fun fact for the VTubers and folks out there who do stuff on Twitch. The album is on Spotify, but it's also I didn't sign up for the copy protection algorithm, whatever. So if you use it as if you're listening to it as BGM on a stream or something, and you put it in the VOD, it's not going to get you muted or a DMCA.
Fantastic.
I'm not about that. I'm not about that. If you like my music enough that you want to have it as your BGM, and you put that it's my songs, do it, man. Do it.
Yeah.
I feel like more artists should embrace that. It's but that's the thing is business tirade. The music industry fucking sucks, man. ASCAP and BMI are terrible for a lot of artists. They're really good for composers in the classical genre, who are composing stuff, but for contemporary musicians who are making music and releasing it and putting it out on streaming services and stuff like that, ASCAP and BMI are fucking awful because they impose all of these copy restrictions and stuff. So I'm not a member of either of those. If you use my stuff, you're not going to get copy strike. Please do put my credit someplace. I would very much appreciate it. But because the music's not royalty free, but you're not going to get a ding for it.
That is fantastic. It's on DistroKid that got released, right?
Yep. I went through DistroKid, which is you can pay DistroKid and sign up for the YouTube detection algorithms and stuff. And I didn't. I was like, nah.
Yeah.
And I don't send my music through the distro to YouTube Music. I upload it to my own YouTube channel.
Nice.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, that's all interesting. That's all very interesting to know. I am, someone that I want to do more covers and put them on YouTube. And even though it's a completely separate kind of conversation, it's still really interesting to know kind of how it works in that sense. And yeah, I gotta say the use of these copyright algorithms is kind of out of control in my opinion.
It's fucking crazy.
It's out of control.
And it's in one hand it's tough because it's I want musicians to be able to be in control of their work and to get paid if they're looking to get paid for their work, It's tough to make music. It's art. It's stuff.
Yeah.
But at the same time, when those algorithms are detecting stuff and taking it down or putting ads on especially smaller artists music, like that's rough because it doesn't really benefit the artists.
No.
It more benefits ASCAP and BMI and record companies and like the streaming platforms and stuff. Like it's not really about the musicians at that point.
Yeah.
And maybe it is with like, you know, if you're it's like fucking Van Halen or something, and you're using Van Halen and you get your music taken down because they're a really big deal and they actually do make money from like all of the licensing and mechanical royalties. But somebody like me, or like even somebody considerably larger than me as a musician, who's not like one of those huge names, you know, anybody who's like small time, I feel like it's better for the artists to be able to like get heard and hopefully get some royalty credits or something. But like, I don't know. I feel like artists should have more of a say in how their music gets used and distributed. And the system we have right now with algorithms and corporations negotiating big agreements for algorithmic detection and the blah blah blah, it's not artist centric, it's corpo centric, and I don't like that.
Yeah, it's not. I feel like a lot of like there's like such a significant amount of the history of several genres, like remix culture, right? And it's like a lot of that stuff used to like fly under the radar of the mainstream, and then ended up like spawning new genres, and that are now recognized genres. And a lot of times I'm sitting here thinking like, that kind of thing, can it happen again? Because like we share music, we like we do so much online these days. Like, you know, yeah, gigs are still happening. People, you know, there are still record stores, but like, you know, brick and mortar is on the way out. Digital distribution is what's taken over, and like people get known on the internet a lot of the time. Like for the most part, like, at least on the countries, on the places of the universe where we live, and it's just like it kind of restricts what an artist can do. A lot, I would say.
Well, and like even like mashups songs, fucking illegal.
Yeah.
Straight up.
Yeah.
Technically, just a mashup's fucking illegal. I've made a bunch of mashups. I guess you could say I'm a criminal. But like, I mean, I didn't sell them because I wanted to try to be above board. But if you like make a mashup and put it on a record and sell it, that's illegal unless you purchase licensing, like all kinds of licensing stuff from the original artists, who aren't going to get most of that licensing fee. It's going to go to all the lawyers and whatever who draw everything up. It's terrible.
Yeah,
terrible. I think we all
system.
know who the only criminal here is, Captain Hurricane, and
I think
that criminal has been tried and convicted on stream, on this channel.
On this very channel, on March of this year. But yeah, no, it's just like that's something that's bothered me a bit, because I feel like a lot of internet culture, like a lot of internet created art, comes from remixing the past, and the use of the tightening of platforms on this kind of stuff has only helped to like injure artists. I mean, there's an aspect that is, while I don't agree with it, there's an aspect that I think is understandable, in the sense of like, you know, like. You don't want someone to upload all of Star Wars to YouTube for free, right?
Yes.
I understand that.
Yes.
I get it. I don't agree with it, because this is my hot take. In 4 years, Star Wars should enter public domain, in my opinion. It will not, but it should. Because in 4 years, it's going to be 50 years since Star Wars 1977 came out. But that's a story for another day. But I feel like there's like an aspect of how do you say it in English? Patrimonio cultural, cultural heritage. There's an aspect of cultural heritage that we don't have access to. I mean, like look at it like you know, there's a whole thing right now about how Winnie the Pooh has gone out of copyright, right? But how long has Winnie the Pooh been around? Do you know what I mean? How long has Winnie the Pooh been around and like the extensions on the old copyright laws have kept on going and kept on expanding, because there's a lot of corporate business interests that want to control these properties, and they want to control that they make profit and that other people are not in any way. and it's kind of, in my opinion, it's kind of out of control in that sense. It's
I agree. Well, and
the
thing that really gets under my skin is the way that like this whole attitude of what you're talking about with like corporate profits being the primary central driving factor for like copyright law extensions and like trying to retain intellectual property for hundreds of fucking years, things like that. That kind of like that attitude, that's what has built the online ecosystem that we're living in right now, right? And we're all doing our best to create stuff and be artful and things like that on the internet, and we're working within this system that was constructed basically with an eye towards corporate profits over creator rights and like artists like self-ownership of creativity and things like that. And you see it reflected in all these little insidious ways that I will admit I buy into them, and I get myself, and I'm always trying to unlearn and relearn and unlearn and all this stuff. But like, you think about it, the whole push to call everything online content, right? A music album, people call it content. It's not content, it's a music album. Like, a stream is a stream, it's not just content. A video essay, it's not content, it's a video essay. Somebody wrote that and edited it and they filmed it and they lit it, and there's all these little creative artistic pieces even in the most simple quote unquote YouTube video out there. It's not content, it's an artistic work that someone's created. Exactly. And like, I feel like the corporatification of everything and the like centering of that corporate kind of ideas of profit motive is reducing all of our collective incredible creative work and art that we're all making to this whole like content grind to try to make money. And like, I want artists to get fairly compensated for their work and what they do, but I also like, I value the creativity and the creative process so much more than just like, is it gonna make somebody money? Like, I want to see all the weird messy shit that you're working on and like the cool stuff that is like coming out of the deep recesses of your brain, I don't want to see just the side of it that you think is gonna make money on YouTube because of the algorithms. And I think it's sad that so much of our creative potential collectively feels a little bit wasted in a way because of the ecosystem,
Yeah, no, I will say like you do see this a lot on YouTube. You do see it a lot in the, like, I would say like there are new creators emerging all the time that make like hot creative content and manage to make a living out of it. But like, when you look at like the big content creators that are relatively new or like that are like the huge big stars of YouTube that are not that old, and you look at what they're doing compared to like the stuff that people that have been there for a long time but have been weirder, the people that have been there for a long time and that now have the level of following where they can make more ambitious stuff, they are making really interesting stuff and they're doing whatever they want.
Yes.
And they're not doing content. Some of them are like, okay, I might release one video a month for 2 or 3 months and then just not release anything for a year because they're working really hard on very specific stuff that will take a long time. I mean, my best example is H-Bomber guy, who sometimes he'll just drop one video and then another one in 2 months, and then sometimes he'll take another year.
He's even his work is fucking awesome.
It's fantastic. He's even released like there's an entire video essay he's made about Myst that is not even released on YouTube. It's just like on Patreon. It's fully done and edited.
Amazing.
It's just fully done and edited.
Incredible.
It's really good. But he was like, you know what? I had this one in my pocket. Like I was about to release it, and I was like, I'll just give it to the patrons. For now. Maybe I'll put it on YouTube like in a year or whatever, because it's not timely. It's not responding to anything timely. So So stuff like that. And I feel like a lot of the times, like, I mean, I myself, I'm gonna confess, I am not free of this, like, hustle culture. It is sadly a bit of a part of it. Like when I'm looking at like the stuff, I'm currently planning a lot of like recorded videos and TikToks, and there is stuff that I want to do in there, and you gotta find you gotta find, sadly, like the happy medium where it's like it's stuff that you're happy making, but that will appeal to people, and you do have to consider the appealing to people part. And in the great scheme of things, that sucks. That's what I've chosen to do. That doesn't mean it's the choice,
I'm not trying to criticize you or any individual artist or creator out there. You know what I mean? It's an ecosystem problem, because I feel the same way. Like, and there's so many little temptations, you know, like everything's showing us the view counters and the metrics and the data and all that stuff. And it like pushes that right in your face. Yeah. And so like, it's tough to not sometimes fall down that hole of trying to get whatever. And also, as a creative and an artist, you're also trying to grow. Yeah. It's not even necessarily like I'm trying to grow my online brand and make money as an influencer. You just want more people to hear your art or to see your streams and like your creative output, because you're working really hard at it. Yeah. And like trying to make it better and more interesting. And part of that, always in all arts forever, has always been trying to do things in a way that people are enjoying and looking for and whatever. Yeah. And it's just like so there's like there's a subtle, I don't know, there's a subtle thing at play here, right? Yeah. Where like on one hand, like of course, like I'm putting out an album, I'm doing promotional stuff for the album, I'm doing a promotional interview for my new album right now. Right now. Like literally that's what this is. Yes. And so like, yeah, of course we're gonna do that, and of course I'm like trying to get people to hear it and listen and stream it, and I'm sharing links and resharing links and all that stuff. But then at the same time, there's like a little voice in the back of my head, I guess, that's like, yeah, just don't cross into that don't go to the dark side. Don't go quiet into that good night. Yeah. Don't go down without a fight. Today is our Independence Day! Sorry. I love that movie. Thank you. It's real bad. It's so bad. I love it. Oh my god. But yeah, no, I think it's a tough thing. It's a tough situation for artists right now, because like we have artists of all kinds, you know? Like, yeah. In many ways, the tools are the most accessible they've ever been. And there's access to audiences is the biggest it's ever been. You know what I mean? Like I like, you know, on Twitch, I have like over 1,000 people that are following me, and I've never had that as a comedian, because I was doing gigs in person. And it's kind of like, we have access to audiences, we have access to tools, we have access to like free tools, free resources, other people to learn from. We can build like an audience that is our own community, built around what we're doing and creating, which is a whole new thing. It's a whole new thing. It's a whole new thing. I mean, it's relatively new, but it's still a new thing. But like the way that things are being funneled, and as I said, it's subtle, you know. But the way things are being funneled algorithmically, you know what I mean? And that's kind of the worrying part, I would say. That's kind of the worrying part, because like I know that if I like I'm gonna give you a perfect example. There's a couple of videos that I wanted to make about Gundam: The Wish for Mercury, right? That I still want to make. But if I had gotten those out when the show was on, then, you know, line goes up. My friend Pyramidinu, who's a video essayist, they've done like a whole bunch of like videos about Gundam, like kind of shorter, right? Like when I say video essay, people think 2 hours, but like their videos are usually like at most 20 minutes. They're nice and digestible because they're like very single topic, very focused. And they released a couple of things, a bunch of things about Gundam or with Gundam in the name or connected to Gundam. Which for Mercury was airing, and they were like, those did real well because like people are looking for Gundam stuff. And on the one hand, I want to talk about Gundam when Gundam is airing at some point. But like at the same time, why do you have to talk about it when it's relevant? Why can't you not talk about it? But you know, it's because of these algorithms are pushing you to be topical, because topical gets views get Papa YouTube his due. You know what I mean? And it's kind of kind of not amazing. It's not an amazing deal for creators. And that's why I see so many creators that succeed on platforms like YouTube or even Twitch
whose content is like they will have like 1 million followers, and I wouldn't give a cent for their content. I'm sorry.
Yeah,
I'm sorry.
yeah,
Because
yeah,
there's a lot of people that are very good at courting the controversy. They're very good at like getting eyeballs on their stuff, but they do it at the expense of having any ethics or principles about what they're doing. You know?
Yeah.
And I'm not I want to clarify. I want to put a caveat on this. Put a brackets on this. I'm not talking about sexy Twitch streamers. They're valid. They're doing their thing. I'm talking about grifters.
Yeah.
I am talking about grifters. You know?
Grifters.
I am talking about people who are on the
I feel
grift.
like I'm not sure if this is what you're talking about, but I feel like certainly not all, but there is a certain brand of like react content and outrage content.
Yeah.
That is just like perpetually like basically it's like like somebody in front of a camera just like, have you heard about topical thing? Topical thing is crazy, and they don't really actually say anything about it. It's just kind of like reiterating like, wow, topical thing happened, topical thing is crazy, isn't topical thing wild? And you crank out like, I don't know, like 10, 15, 10-minute videos every day like that, and people searching for topical thing will land on your channel, and like, oh, this person is talking about whatever, I'm gonna give them a follow. And you just, that's a way to grow a huge channel without really contributing anything
Not at
creative
all.
or interesting.
Not at all.
You know, it's just it's literally just like, oh, I kind of get how this platform is pushing content in front of people, and I'm using content here specifically as like the descriptor, right? It's just this platform pushes it'll push like a 10-minute video of a trash bag sitting on the fucking sidewalk in front of people if it's tagged and released in the proper like time and like with the proper topical shit going on.
Whoa.
You know what I mean?
This is a trashy fan zone. We love trashy here. We are not going to do not diss that trash bag, Skylarka. Not on this show.
I'm gonna pause it. I fucking love trash.
No, I was just making fun as if there was a specific trash bag that we're all fans of.
I kind of hope there is a trash bag.
I kind of hope so.
Now I want that.
Yeah, I want that.
I feel like, honestly, a 10-minute video of a trash bag baking in the sun on the sidewalk, I feel like that could be done in a really interesting, artful way.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
A meditation on waste.
Meditation on waste. Boots is bringing up what I was going to bring up, which is that Legal did a video because like there was like a court case recently, or still ongoing, I don't know, about a very 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 famous streamer who's I just remembered his name. I'm not going to say it. But I think
I know what you're talking about.
And
I've seen that legal video. Like, hey Boots, yeah.
So for people that don't know, it's this the Twitch streamer who basically does mainly just like reaction content, which I mean I think there's some nuances here that are lost when we talk about reaction content, but sure. Like just like in general, and I'm gonna get on that in a second. But like the specific point of the complaint was that he watched a video that I've watched, which is a really, really, really good documentary video about the Kennedy assassination, that talks a lot about like Oswald and like his story and what he was doing that day and what happened, and it's really fascinating. And what he did is he played it on stream while reacting to it, but his reactions there was like barely anything. It was usually like, wow, or that's crazy, or it was just like nothing. There was like nothing that was being added. Now, like I will say, I put a separation between something like that or someone who only does that kind of content to like a streamer that's hanging out with their community and they're like, let's watch like a bunch of YouTube videos you guys have submitted, let's like do some media share or whatever. But like there's like a different kind of vibe.
There's definitely a different vibe. And like some of my favorite stuff to watch myself as a VTube enjoyer is that kind of like React Andy type content where it's a VTuber who's either taken submissions from their community and they're watching videos on stream and talking about them and joking about them with the chat, or like to quote one of, or to cite one of my most favoritist VTubers on Twitch is Neanners, the pink little cat, the little pink cat. She'll often do like scary videos streams where she watches like just fucking terrible like spooky videos on YouTube and has a laugh about them. But like, she's not just watching them; she's talking about them, and like, you know, it's not just like a ooh, 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 ooh. There's a lot of yelling and screeching, but there's more to it than that. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah, absolutely.
It's different. Like, I feel like that, and it's hard to. It's another one of those gray areas. You gotta like walk a narrow line when you're talking about React stuff.
I think when people say that reaction content is streamer retirement, I feel like what they mean is like people like this guy that got caught in the legal case where like that's like all he does. He's like in a corner reacting to a video, and there's like no kind of because like Neanners are like a whole other layer. Iron Mouse does it a lot as well. You know, as a lot of my friends do it. Firozera does it a bunch. But like there's like a level. There's like a theme, I would say. Like one of my favorite things is like people reacting to old VHSs, old like tutorial VHSs or stuff like that.
Yes.
And that is
fine.
God,
yes.
That is fine because you're not really affecting a current content creator most of the time. You're just like watching an old tape that got unearthed somehow, and you're going like, hey chat, there's this old thing I found, isn't it wild? And that's the isn't it wild aspect. It's like, you know, doing it with an old thing that is probably out of copyright or like nobody cares, you know, like that oh god,
that's different than like watching somebody's recent like creative output, like very difficultly made film.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. You know, if we sat here and we put on Dan Olson's latest, which I've watched several times, I have a problem. I
love that Dan Olson.
I love that Canadian man. I would sit on a lecture of him teaching. He can teach me about anything. He can clearly teach me about anything because I wouldn't have cared about all the topics he's made if somebody else came along and told me, hey, I'm gonna make something about this. You know, or I want to talk to you about this. I'm gonna go, no, get out of here. Dan also wants to talk about it. I know he's gonna teach me something interesting. But like you and I are not gonna sit here on stream, put Dan Olson in the background and go like, whoa, that's crazy. You know what I mean? I've done cards on the table. Every April 1st, Captain Hurricane and I do that, but we do that with stuff that again we don't feel it's gonna impinge on anything. Like last year we did it on the Channel Awesome Final Movie to Boldly Flee. Dreadful movie. And it's so like, it doesn't even have official uploads anymore, but on YouTube there's like several full uploads of the movie, which clearly shows that there's no, you know, and also most of the people in the movie like have disowned it, you know, so it's fine. And then this year we watched Baywatch Nights, which, you know, that's a bit more murky. That was like a big show or whatever, but also it's Baywatch Nights, it's not main Baywatch. We wouldn't watch main Baywatch on stream because that's like a big show. It's very protected. Nobody remembers Baywatch Nights. Nobody gives a shit about Baywatch Nights except freaks like me, because I'm always thinking, yo, like men think about the Roman Empire. I think about Baywatch Nights.
I gotta say, I'd never even heard of Baywatch Nights until y'all were streaming it, and I watched more of it after stream.
It's so good. It's just incredible.
It's so good.
It's just incredible.
Yeah.
I need to watch some more because my friend Fira is gonna have like a horror movie PowerPoint stream, and my thing is gonna be Baywatch Nights. But yeah, you can't remember much of the True Blood is fine. But yeah, that's what we're kind of trying to do, and we do like a watch along. But we did watch along showing them on stream. That was the difference, I would say, for those two.
Yeah.
But yeah, we need to start wrapping up if you're okay with that. Unless Chad has any questions for Sky before we go. If Chad, you have any questions, say them now. Meanwhile, I'm gonna start looking for someone to raid. It's just that we've been going for like almost 2 hours, and I think this
we've been going a long time.
It's feeling like a good place to wrap it.
I think so. Yeah.
So
thank you so much for having me here. This was so fun.
Thank you for being the first guest on Good Maruning Saturday Night.
Yeah, of course. Oh, it looks like Captain Hurricane has the question.
Yeah.
What is deadlift, bench, squat? Well, Captain Hurricane, I might be a little opossum, and I might have health problems now, but I used to be very into lifting weights. Believe it or not. Tiny little woman lifting big old heavy weights. And my best squat I have ever done squatted, 300 pounds. I don't know what that is in kilos, but 300 pounds. My best deadlift, also 300 pounds. My best bench press, fuck, I don't even know who does bench presses. Do fucking clean jerks, man. Bench press sucks.
Oh my god, amazing.
Yeah. Is Friday Bandcamp Friday? I don't know. Is it?
It's gonna be Bandcamp Friday in a few hours here.
Bandcamp Friday is a thing that Bandcamp does. When is the next Bandcamp Friday? Where they it looks like the next one is not until February.
Yeah.
Or no, October 6th. Yeah, so it's tomorrow. So Bandcamp they do a thing where they don't take their cut for stuff that's sold on Bandcamp Friday. 100% of the sales go to the artist.
That is fantastic.
Which, I mean, Bandcamp's cut, it's like 10%. It's not a lot. Bandcamp's fucking awesome. But yeah, Bandcamp Friday rules.
That is so cool. So yeah, folks, if you want to buy the album on Bandcamp, tomorrow is a good time. We're gonna start wrapping up. Sky, when is your next stream?
My next stream is Saturday at 2 p.m. Eastern time. I don't know what that is in other time. I guess that would be what
7 p.m. 7 p.m. UK time.
PM.
Yeah.
UK. Yeah.
Yeah.
And I will be doing music. I will be messing with some city pop and synthwave type sounds.
Fantastic, folks. Please go and follow Skylarka. My next stream, just real quick, is tomorrow. I think it's 3 p.m. Check the schedule on Twitter. It's a work stream. I'll be writing and working on a couple of things. One that I can tell you about, one that I can't. But in any case, we're gonna set up the raid, and we have someone really appropriate to raid today. It's Odyssey Eurobeat, who is a composer, a VTuber, Eurobeat producer. Really fantastic.
I fucking love Eurobeat.
Yeah.
Women are my favorite guy.
Yeah, Odyssey Eurobeat is a fantastic musician VTuber. So I think it's a great. This is a great great situation to take you to her. She's really wonderful. We have the same agent. It's not an agent. It's, we consult with the same manager. But it's really funny if I say it like this because we're a late show. We're a late night talk show. So but yeah, folks, we're gonna raid Odyssey Eurobeat. The Initial D sequel anime, fantastic. But yes, folks, thank you so much for being here tonight. Thank you so much, Skylarka, for being the first guest on that couch.
Thank you, everybody, for coming and hanging out. Thank you, Maru, for the interview and the invite. This has been a blast.
Thank you so much. And yes, folks, I will see you tomorrow for the work stream. Never forget to fight forever, Heroes of Hope. And good Maruning Saturday night on a Thursday. We'll return on another day. Thank you.
Good Maruning.
Good Maruning.